Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Hopefully, it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, I am giving some of you what you've highly requested and asked on Instagram and some of the YouTube posts and things here recently. My eating style, how I am eating in 2024, what's changed, what hasn't changed, how I'm feeling, all of those types of things. I did a food post the other day, which I've not historically been good at that. A lot of times I'm just too tired and I don't give a shit, and I'm not a food photographer, so I don't take the greatest pictures of food, I don't think. But I did one the other day, and a lot of people were inquiring, sending DMs and asking questions about it, so I thought I would share it for you guys, because obviously what you eat is a huge part of your physical body and what you do in terms of fitness and the results that you get and how you feel. It's, I don't know if it's more important than the exercise, but it's equally as important, if you will, I think, in a lot of cases for people, depending on how old you are and what your goals are, and if you're training for, performance or aesthetics or mobility or strength or you name it, what you eat plays a major role in your life, and it's one of the main things that you can control. A lot of things in life you cannot control, and you don't have any say about a lot of the things that happen around you in your life, but how you eat, my friends, is definitely one of them. So I'm going to talk through my eating style in 2024, and again, full disclaimer, I'm not telling you to eat like this. I'm not telling you to do what I do and eat how I eat and live how I live. I'm just literally sharing what I personally do, what works for my life, being a middle-aged guy in his 40s, who I like to think is still, in relatively good shape, and feels relatively well and can do a lot of the same things I could do when I was 20, and I have to attribute a lot of it to the food I put in my body. So that, my friends, is the episode today. But before I kick in, a couple housekeeping things. One, Jeremy Scott Fitness app, jeremyscottfitness.app. You guys get a week for free. You already know that. Rebuilt program is in there. Anybody who's looking to move better and feel better, improve their mobility, improve their strength, be dynamic, be explosive and athletic, even if you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s, this is the program that I would do. It started from me rehabbing my own back injury. I had disc issues at L3, L4, L4, L5, and a roofing L5, S1, to the point where there were some days where I couldn't even put my underwear on. I mean, without being in insane pain. Like, I got my underwear on. I didn't go to work commando, but it was rough for me just to put underwear on, and I would still go to work and still demo exercises and still work out how I could. And I rebuilt myself all the way back from that, being in such pain. And Heather could tell you I was not a pleasant person to be around. It was very debilitating, but I made it all the way back. And knock on wood, now I have zero back pain, and I can do all the stuff I could do before, and then some. So that's where this program came from. It's inside the app. If you guys have a question on it, just ask. Otherwise, that is in there for you. Our Summer Advanced Metcon is a free challenge we're rolling out in the app on July the 1st, so Monday, about 4 days from now. You guys will get in there. Grand prize winner gets to fly out here to Scottsdale. We put you up in a hotel, pay for your airfare, pay for the hotel. You can come in and train with us and our group of savages inside our facility. And we're doing weekly prizes throughout from all of our sponsors. It's a good time. And again, that program, Metcons, will rip your face off. And we do have a huge mobility piece built into that program. So it goes Metcon Mobility, all the way through the program for, I believe, all 35 days. So it's our Summer Advanced Metcon Challenge. The link is in the show notes. And then, other side note, we did load the Ultimate Core Trainer inside the app from the great and powerful BJ Gaddour. I've done one of the workouts already. It is no joke. It is not easy to do. And it's a 10 workout follow along program to build your core and your trunk, and not just like your superficial, not just, rectus abdominis, not just the front six, not just the obliques, not just the intercostals, but your entire core and really your whole body, if I'm being honest. And I did the first follow along, then they get harder as they go throughout the program, and it was not easy for me. The single leg hamstring slides, rough. The single arm slide push-ups, those are brutal. So again, if it was hard for me, it might be hard for you guys too, and it might be a good challenge. So that's in the app 100% for free. You guys check it out, jeremyscottfitness.app, links in the show notes. Check it out. And if you want to join the challenge, maybe win a free trip on me to sunny, beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, join that as well. Again, all for free inside of the app, and you get a week for free on top of that. And if you stay on, it's a couple of pennies a day. You're not going to find a better fucking deal out there. I promise you that. And real quick, shout out to my friends at AG1. Gut health to me is a huge piece of how I'm able to do all these things. I've had multiple health issues in the past with my gut and the food that I eat and my reactions to it, and how brutal it can be. So now, obviously, the way that I eat plays a huge piece in that, and obviously, any supplements I take on top of that are insanely important to me. So I do take the AG1 every day. I've taken it for probably about 6 or 7 years in a row, just for the fact of it covers the gaps in my nutrition, because I don't eat as much veggies as I probably should. It's hard for me to digest them, which is a different podcast altogether. But there's prebiotics, there's probiotics in there, and digestive enzymes for gut support and for gut health and to support your immune system. So it's the one supplement I do take every day, and I don't ever miss it. So if you guys want a free sample pack, 100% on me. I don't care what state, country, province you live in. I will send you a sample pack right to your front door. You can try it. If you like it, we'll hook you up from there. If you order, we'll give you a year's supply of free vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with order 1. So hit me up for a free sample. Otherwise, the link is going to be below, and it's just drinkag1.com/JeremyScott to get all the free stuff today. And all the other sponsors are in their show notes, are the link to our mastermind group that we were rolling through here. My friends at JLab Pro, where I get my protein, turmeric, collagen, krill oils, Dry Farms wine, where Heather gets all her organic wine. And everybody else is going to be below if you want to check it out. I'm going to do my best to get you guys a discount on everything humanly possible. So, with that, my phone is buzzing here like crazy. I'm actually coming to you guys from my home office. The gym is busy today. I got a new girl, Meredith, training in with Brian, because Brian is going to be leaving us here shortly. So I got a new staff member coming in. She's a rock star. She'll be great. So bear with me as I'm at home and it's busy and it's loud there and it's at least quiet here. I got my 14-and-a-half-year-old dog sleeping right next to me. And I got this little psychopath puppy sleeping out here in the entryway. Took my dog to the dog park yesterday morning super early. And my puppy's a English Lab Golden Retriever. And for some reason just loves to chew dead birds. And I don't know what happened, if it was a coyote or a bobcat or something came down and chewed up a bunch of birds, like big-ass birds. I don't know anything about animals, so I couldn't tell you what type of bird it was. And my knucklehead dog just goes and grabs this dead bird, just chewing it all up. Like just eating a dead bird like it's, eating chicken wings, at a football game, just mowing down, running around in circles at the dog park with the giant feathers and like a bird beak sticking out of her mouth, just chewing. My dog is 8 months old. It's not super big. Just running around in a circle, just having the fucking time of her life, just chewing this dead bird up like crazy and won't listen to me for anything. And I look like the idiot, dog owner who his dog doesn't listen to him. And other people are playing with their dogs there, tossing a ball. And I'm like, yeah, that's not me, guys. I'm the guy who has no control. And then obviously jogging home, the dog pukes up this dead bird all over the neighbor's yard, and just what a morning it was. So anyways, nothing to do with the podcast, but that was my day yesterday. I took her to the dog park today and stayed away from the birds and the feathers as best we could. But my phone was buzzing, and that's why I wanted to go over this. BJ Gador actually sent me this just probably 10 minutes ago. I'm going to mark it unread so I can reply. But he sent me this post, and I did see it last night, and I almost messaged it to him. Great minds think alike. It's a photo of Tom from MySpace. If you guys are old enough to remember Tom Anderson, who's known as Tom from MySpace, he would be like your first friend. He became everybody's friend on MySpace. You started a MySpace account, and then Tom is obviously your friend. And the heading is it said this guy sold his business MySpace for $580 million and retired and solely focuses his passion on photography. And to me, that beats every success story. No, that's the heading. And I'll read here The quick caption: Tom Anderson, known as the MySpace Tom, gained fame as the co-founder of the social networking site MySpace. In 2005, he sold the company to News Corporation for a whopping $580 million, a move that changed his life forever. After the sale, Anderson decided to step away from the tech world and pursue his passion for photography. He began traveling the world, capturing stunning landscapes and cityscapes with his camera. Anderson's journey from tech entrepreneur to professional photographer showcased the power of following one's dreams. His Instagram account currently has about 600,000 people, featuring breathtaking images and global adventures. Tom's transition highlights the importance of finding fulfillment beyond financial success. Despite his wealth, he chose to focus on creativity and personal growth through photography. Anderson's story serves as an inspiration to those considering a career change or pursuing a lifelong passion, demonstrating it's never too old to reinvent yourself and find happiness in new adventures. Now, I do have to say, that's pretty fucking badass, man. To do that and be able to do that and to have an idea. Now, I know a lot of people who are cynical are listening. Well, yeah, Jeremy, it'd be easy if I had $580 million. I don't have $580 million. I understand that. But if you did, would you still, go do that if you left the world that you were in, or would you keep chasing more and more and more and more? Now, I don't know. Only you know the answer to that. But the point is, I think there's something super cool to be said about working your fucking ass off and then knowing when to step away and chasing something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy versus just chasing money. Now, obviously, it's easier said than done when you have $580 million. And some of you don't have, $58,000 and you're just, chasing money to pay bills and a house and for all the things that you have to pay for. So I get it. But the point of me sharing that is if you can find a way to live below your means, save enough money, and have some investments and some things paying you over time and start to transition into things you like to do versus things you hate to do just for money, I think the overall quality of your life would be substantially better. And I know this has nothing to do with my diet, but in general, I thought of this the other day, like in terms of like wealth, right? Like we're really confused in America, especially in other places in the country too, in the world. But we think of wealth as the bullshit that you can see, and it's not always bullshit. I work with clients who have real money. I work with clients who have millions of dollars and have jets and fucking mansions and multiple houses and drive Rolls Royces and Bentleys, and they have more money than they'll ever spend in their lifetime. But it's a small percentage. A lot of people, when you see what they have, you think that that's their wealth, right? Like you think the house you see is their wealth. You think the car that they drive is their wealth. You think that the clothes or the bags that they have or the trips that they take is their wealth. It's not true. Wealth is what you can't see, not what you can see. Now, hear me out here. Like when you see someone's house that they live in, you don't really know, right? Like what the mortgage payment is. You don't know what the car payment is. You don't know what the credit card bill is. They took a trip to Fiji. You don't know if they paid for it in cash or if it cost them $12,000, and now they're paying off their Amex at 26%. So that trip is going to cost them $22,000, and really they're broke as fuck and they hate their life. Now you don't know that. Wealth is what you can't see. And I'm not just talking about like the love of your friends and your family and your happiness, and that is wealth to me too. But what I'm saying is like your wealth for me, like from the outside, my '08 Honda Accord is out here right now. I'm trying to get it fixed up so I can give it to Monica, who's worked for me for a decade. I want to give it to her 16-year-old kid so he has a car to drive. My gift to them and to him for working for us and being part of us. And yeah, it's an '08, but it's still fucking awesome. It still runs like a top. Thing's super fast. Anyways, the point is, if I'm driving this car around Scottsdale, you might see me and be like, oh, this dude's broke. This dude's struggling. This dude doesn't have any money. And it couldn't be further from the truth. My wealth is not wrapped up in the vehicles that I drive. My wealth is not wrapped up in the house that I live in. We own things that pay us money. We have investments that pay us over time. We have real estate that pays us. These are what wealth is. And so I think of that a lot in the world today. We get so wrapped up in what we see and what we think is reality. And the truth is always a lot different than the optics on the outside world. So again, nothing to do with my diet, but just food for thought. There's a lot of different ways you can live your life, and there's a lot of different ways you can go about things. And again, I'm never against having nice things and buying fancy stuff and taking great trips. Like we spend money, we do things that are ridiculous, just like everyone else does, but only when you can afford it and only when it's easy for you. And for me, and you guys know this, everything I do with money is to make my life easier and better and less stressful, to have more enjoyment and more fulfillment. And I think being wealthy is having the flexibility and the freedom and more free time and not having to go to work just to pay for stuff. You know what I mean? Like we've all struggled, we've all been broke, we've all been in tough spots. That's just it's life, it happens, especially when you're young, and hopefully you can get out of it. And I share this just because Heather and I had a conversation before she left a little bit ago. I'm not getting up and going to work, for the next 20 years just to pay for a mortgage, just to pay for student loans, just to pay for car payments, just to pay for, a handbag or for a kitchen renovation. That's not what I'm not put on this earth to do that. That's not going to make me happy. It's going to make me less happy. So I have to do things, with my money that make sense and make my life easier on the back end versus harder on the back end. And the same thing I think about doing mobility. The same thing I think about doing, eating properly. Like you're doing things that your future self can thank you for. Now you got to live your life and spend your money and enjoy it. Don't die with $10 million in the bank. I think that's fucking stupid. If you want to go out on zero, go out on zero and live your life. The same thing with, you can't do mobility 4 hours a day, but you can do 14 minutes a day. And you don't have to eat perfect and eat everything organic. You can drink a beer once in a while and have a steak and eat some pizza and be a real person. But there's balance there. And that's the same way I think about wealth and money and everything else. So anyways, 17 minutes in, I got to get off my soapbox here of that. My eating in 2024. I posted a rip the other day on here. Actually, Heather was out of town. It was a Friday night, and I had made elk burgers with bacon and cheese, and these I'm gonna forget the brand name. These crinkle cut fries, salt and peppered the hell out of them, and in the air fryer. If you're gonna make fries, dude, in the future, don't do them in the oven. You're a caveman. Like if you're gonna make fries or anything like that, or tater tots, or whatever, air fryer, bro. Once you go, you'll never go back. It's impossible to do fries in the oven. They're soggy, they're gross, they're trash. You make them in the air fryer, it's like you got them at a restaurant. They're on point. So I made these elk burgers with bacon, cheese, no buns, Grillo's pickles, and these fries. And I watched the movie Predator with my 2 dogs. Savage Friday night. This is a man in his 40s living it up. That's what I do. So, anyways, I posted that, and then quite a few questions of people just asking in general, are you still doing 1 meal a day? Because the stuff that I post, excuse me, doesn't look like it's enough calories, for the day and to get through. To answer the question, I would say depending on my schedule, I'm just like you guys. I'm a real person. I have responsibilities. We run businesses here. I'm a part of joint ventures with Dave DiLorenzo. Him and I have a business. Obviously, we run a brick and mortar facility. I'm responsible for people and their jobs. And like it or not, when things break at our place, if it's not something that our handyman, our crew can fix, like if a ski breaks, I have to fix it. And if shit goes sideways, like I have to take care of it just because it's faster if I do it than waiting for somebody to come for 4 days. So there's things I have to do. And obviously, when you have a giant leak at your house, you got to fucking deal with it. When your wife goes on vacation, you got to deal with things. Like there's just things I have to do. So some of my days aren't super stress-free and easy, and they're busier. So if I get up at 4 in the morning, and like my Mondays for me is rough. On my Monday, I get up at 4, and my day doesn't end. Historically, it's going to change because Meredith is coming on the team. Thank you, Meredith. Historically, I've worked from Monday that we start at 5 a.m., so I wake up at 4. The gym is open at 5, and it doesn't close until after 6. And I'm basically working all fucking day. Now there's gaps in there where I can do mobility and I can work out, but I have to be on my computer and return messages and program and plan for the app and for the stuff the next day. So that's a shitty day. When I was 27, I didn't really mind. In my 40s, it's a little bit rougher. On those days, my eating is different than on a day like today, which I can wake up, I can walk the dogs, I can work from home, I can go in, I can do mobility, but I don't have to, I'm not working with humans in person for 7 straight hours, and I don't have to be on camera, for 2 hours of the day. I'm basically just, I get up, emails, returns, do the podcast, and I'm here. So about half of the days a week, I would say I'm eating once per day. And there's other days where I'll eat twice per day. There's no days where I eat 3 times or 4 times or 5 times a day. I'm not against that. It's just not what I do, and it doesn't fit my schedule, and it doesn't fit with my goals and how I want to feel. At the end of the day, everything I say here is based on how I feel, number one. Like in terms of how I'm digesting food, number one. How do I feel? How does my stomach feel? 2. How much energy do I have? 3. What is my digestive system looking like? Like how many times do I have to take a shit? Like how regular do I want to be? Those things all matter in terms of how I eat. And at this point, I have so much body awareness. I'm very aware of what goes on. Personally, I'm just going to share with you guys. I like to wake up. I get up early, brush my teeth, take a shit, take a shower, do all those things. That's my routine. I don't want to be taking a dump at 10 a.m. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to be, again, I work in a facility with 100 people. So if I'm in there taking a shit and there's 22 people walking in the door, it's not comfortable. It's not an environment I want to be in. I can count on my hand the amount of times I have taken a dump inside Jeremy Scott Fitness in 7 years, and it's less than 5. It rarely ever happens unless you get a diarrhea visit you weren't planning on or something. But I like to be regular. I don't like to be bloated. I don't like to, feel constipated. I don't want to have diarrhea. So I eat a certain way so I kind of know what's going on with my system. That's how I make my decisions. And on top of that, then it's what I look like. Now, obviously, I'm aware of macros and those things, but the number one thing is, how do I feel? How am I going to the bathroom? How much energy do I have? Those things matter. Am I having a reaction to something? Am I overly thirsty? Is my nose running? Do I have any kind of response to the food that's going in my body? So most of the days I eat once per day. Some days I eat twice per day. On the days I eat twice in a day, if I do eat a meal before dinner and I eat at dinner time, historically now it's been probably around 5 or 6 o'clock. Could be a little bit later. It's really never earlier than 5. Our dogs eat at typically 5, and that's what we do. So my meal is usually between probably 5 and 6. If I'm being pinpointing it, it's usually around 6 p.m., 6:30. Last night I probably didn't eat till 6:45, give or take. On the days I eat 2 meals, the first one is smaller, and it's usually pretty basic. Rarely do I eat before I work out. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's really rare. I'm trying to work out earlier in the day if I can. It's just with work and life, it's difficult at times. So historically, I've been working out, if it's on the early tip, 11 a.m. Most of the days I get to work out around 1 p.m. So that's usually when I train. And if I work out at 11, I never eat before. If I'm working out at 1, if I'm really starving and things are just completely sideways, maybe I would eat a little something, but usually not. 99% of the time, I do not eat before I work out. I wake up, it's just water, Powerade Zero, and coffee. Right now, I'm doing essentially just 2 espresso shots a day is all I'm doing. I was to the point where I was doing, last year, sometimes 8 espresso shots in a day, which is way too much, dude. So I've cut it back drastically. There's been gaps this year where I've done no coffee at all for over a month, just green tea. And then there's a time where I did decaf coffee for probably 2 months. All that sucks, by the way. I'm not a fan of that. It's not. My life is better with coffee than without it. I just have to, control myself. You just find yourself relying on it, and you're drinking too much of it, and you get to the point where you get almost like shakes in your hand, and it's not helping you, it's actually hurting you. At least that's my experience. So 8 shots of espresso is way too much in a day. And I was relying on it too much, running on that, and it wasn't optimal for me. So now I'm trying to do just 2 espresso shots a day. I try to do all of that before noon. Noon would be the latest I ever do caffeine. I'm trying to do no caffeine at all after that. If I do diet soda or something, it's like a Sprite Zero or a 7-Up Zero, or A&W is the best. Sugar-free diet A&W soda is the best diet root beer that's on the planet. And I know people will go, diet soda is not healthy for you. Yeah, dude, I know. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's not going to kill you. You would have to drink a million times. I've never met anybody where diet soda was a thing that tore them down. And if you're telling me that I eat organic food, I don't abuse drugs, I don't abuse alcohol, and if you're telling me I can't have a diet A&W root beer soda once in a while, or I can't have a diet Sprite once in a while, what is the point of being on the planet? I'm just supposed to drink water and eat fucking tree bark all day? Like, I'm not down with that, man. If you tell me I'm gonna die at 78 and I could have lived till I was 86, that's cool, dude. I'll take it because I had a better quality of life. I've done a whole podcast on diet soda, and how it's fine for you in moderation, like most things. But I'm sharing that just to be transparent with you guys on how I do things. So I wake up, water, mostly water. I'll do like a little, what is this, like a 20-ounce little Powerade Zero, and my 2 espresso shots. That's kind of how I start my day, and that's how I roll. From there, if I have to eat a little meal right off the top, I've been just doing, I've been running to Natural Grocers, which is a grocery store just right down the street from our facility. If you guys are out here on the West Coast, I don't think they're on the East Coast, but they're out here and they're great. I'll do like this, like a big pack of I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it the bit long, like that, like dried up beef jerky? There's no sugar in it. There's like maybe a gram or two of fat, and the packs I get are like 35 grams of protein, I believe. And so I'll do one of those because I like how it tastes. Vital Farms, which is the best eggs on the planet, and it's not even close. The Vital Farms, organic eggs, where the yolk is just that deep, deep orange. They've been coming out with these hard boiled egg packs. We have them at our house here in bigger packs, but they sell these packs of 2. So I'll do this big pack of beef jerky, 35 like grams of protein. I'll do the 2 hard-boiled eggs, salt and pepper those bad boys. That's like, I think, another 12 grams. So that's putting me at 47 grams of protein right off the top. And then I'll grab like an 8-ounce pack of like blueberries. And that's really what I've been rolling with. If I'm really, really hungry, I would throw in like one of those Koya drinks. It's plant-based protein. It's pea, rice, and hemp, but it's complete protein, so it has all the amino acids in there. They have great flavors like cinnamon, horchata, vanilla, all those things. And that is like, I think there's 7 grams of fat in that. There's like 7 grams of fiber, and I think 18 grams of protein. And that would be my first meal. Now, a lot of times I don't put the Koya in there just because I feel like that's almost too much for me. And if I do eat too much early in the day, I get tired and lethargic, and it kind of just, it takes away from my workout. I'll have like an acid reflux, and I just won't feel comfortable, and the workout then kind of sucks. I think my body is taking too much time digesting the food, more than anything else, if I eat pre-workout. But if it's post-workout, I still just try to keep it light, because if I do that and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't want to be a worthless bag of shit the rest of the day. So I would do that. So I would eat it like the post-workout window. I would eat that like maybe like at 3, and then eat my dinner, 3 or 4 hours later. And so right off the bat, if I'm doing that, I'm already at 50 plus grams of protein. And then move to my dinner. Historically, I always eat at least like a pound of meat. I've been doing a lot of elk lately, venison, bison. We do a lot of grass-fed beef. We do, guys, is it Thousand Hills is a brand we use a lot. Ancestral Farms is a good brand that we use. I also do a lot of ground turkey. I do steak. I like ribeyes. I like the New York strips quite a bit. Those are probably my 2 favorite. But I'm doing at least a pound of meat, and that's about 100 grams of protein right off the top. So between just that easy little the beef jerky and the eggs and the protein, that's 150 grams right there. Now, in terms of what I eat with it, it really depends on the day and what type of day I'm having. Heather is great at making veggies here. She's great at finding all these like fancy cauliflower rices. So a lot of times I'll do that. If I'm doing steak, typically I like to do like the golden potatoes with my steaks. I'll do a couple of potatoes with that. I like the Kerrygold butter on top of that. I'm a fan of real butter, obviously. So that'll is usually what I'll do with some veggies. And the ones we do are typically like asparagus, broccoli. Those are probably the top two that we do. And then she does all the veggie mixes. Heather's way better about eating veggies than I am. But I do like, and then she has these green beans that we found at Sprouts that are pretty great too. So I pretty go heavy on the veggies and the protein. And then if it's later in the night, if that's like at 6:30, I've been trying to like I'll wait a little bit, and if I have like a dessert or something, I try to do it earlier. As I got older, I just find it's better if I don't eat a ton right before I go to bed. I feel like my heart rate is higher. We track it on the app. I can see that, and my sleep quality tends to not be as good. I have more disturbances, and it's just not as good a quality of sleep. After that, if I'm still hungry, which is historically true because I'm always hungry, we have the different yogurts here. Now we have a Harmless Harvest one that's really not high in protein. I do it more for the probiotics and what I add into it. But we have another one, and I'm gonna butcher the name. I don't know. It's an organic, high protein yogurt. It's all real. Natural Grocers has it, and that is about 25 grams of protein. By the time I do, I think it's like it's like a cup of it. Um, so I'll do a yogurt mix of about 25 grams of protein with that. I'll throw a ton of chia seeds in there. I throw a little stevia in there, cinnamon as well, and then I'll throw like a little frozen fruit mix on top of that, and I'll mix that up, and that puts me at probably about 180 grams of protein at that point. And if I'm still feeling like I need to eat and I'm like a fat ass, I'll do something like a Perfect Bar, which are the real food bars. I believe the Perfect Bars have 20 grams of protein. They're very calorie dense. They're about 330 calories per. There's about 4 grams of fiber in there, and then they have I think about 20 grams of fat as well. So I'm kind of mindful like what proteins did I eat and how much fat did I take in for the day. But that would put me at like 200 plus grams of protein, which I think right now I'm what do I weigh? 200. I'm just over 200 pounds. I'm like 200 and probably 4 pounds or 5 pounds or something like that. So that would be kind of my day. If I switch it up and I don't do that exact mix, sometimes I'll do Ezekiel bread, or something with peanut butter on there, with the yogurt on the side. My main goal is just like, can I get enough protein to keep as much muscle mass as I have? Can I eat enough food to be satiated and satisfied? And stuff that gives me enough fuel for the next day, but doesn't make me feel bloated and gross and lethargic. Outside of that, sometimes I'll swap a Power Crunch bar for the Perfect Bars. Are those things great for you? They're not perfect, but I don't think they're unhealthy by any means. They're like a candy bar that has protein in it for sure. That's historically what I do. There might be days where I do, more eggs versus less of something else, but really it's a little meal packed with a bigger protein meal. Now, if I don't eat that first meal of the day and I come home, I might do even more protein at that sitting, or I might space it out a little bit. And so I might do, the steaks and the potatoes, and then in the evening I might have more of the yogurt, or maybe like a bison burger on top of that with some other stuff. So I don't mind eating a lot at one time. It works easier for me and for my schedule, and I find like I'm more satiated and satisfied eating a bigger meal at once than eating multiple small meals. And the problem you get into with that is sometimes you get so hungry, you tend to go overboard and you eat way too much stuff. So what we try to do, and again, I don't have 8 little kids running around my house, and Heather doesn't keep a lot of sweets or treats in the house. I'm the one who would bring in the sweets and shit to the house. She's not the one who historically does that. So when I come home and I'm hungry, there's really nothing to kind of pick through. That's why I always try to have like things like the beef jerky or the True Story chickens or veggies and hummus and blueberries and things around, so I can shove that in my face. Or what I do if I'm really starving is I'll choke down some beef jerky that I do like, and then I'll grab like one of even the Harmless Harvest yogurts and mix just a bunch of chia seeds in there with the fruits, just for the fact of I know people go back and forth on this. I do think fiber is it's very important for me. Um, I know a lot of people say like, oh, you don't need fiber and it's worthless, but I feel like I shit way better with it. I'm very regular. I take a real shit like a real person, and it's not rabbit pellets. It's not diarrhea. It's not so big it feels like it's ripping your asshole. I'm just being honest with you here. I know a lot of people don't talk about these things. They don't talk about how they piss. They don't talk about how they shit, but it's important. If you're not feeling well and something's going wrong, like if you can't fix it through food and drink, like you need to go see somebody and have them walk you through it. So I do think fiber is very important. So I'm a huge fan of that. We do like and again, I'm not saying I don't ever eat anything else. It might be at dinner, sometimes it might be steak, and it might be, I have a ribeye or I have a New York strip and I have, 5 eggs. And then instead of Ezekiel bread, I might have this Elizabeth's oatmeal with cinnamon, Truvia. I'll put a ton of chia seeds in there with, blueberries is the biggest fruit that I eat, but I have a frozen mix here that we do just because it's 110 degrees here right now. So doing yogurt with frozen fruit is actually refreshing. It's almost like our version of ice cream. Is as good as Ben and Jerry's or Dairy Queen? Fuck no. I don't feel like a bag of shit. I'm not going to, weigh 300 pounds. So I'll do the yogurt with like a frozen mix of mangoes and strawberries and blueberries. And that's kind of what I'll mix up. And that tends to be kind of my eating for the day. So I try to get about 200 grams of protein. The fats probably end up being about 100 grams, give or take, and then the carbs can be low or they can be high. If I didn't move around a lot, they're probably not as high that day. Or if I really feel like I'm dragging ass, I'll eat more. And then how do I feel based off that? And I kind of gauge every single day, and I can tell if I'm dehydrated or if I'm not eating enough fiber or if I eat, too much grain or if I eat too much dairy products, whatever it may be, I can tell. And I just kind of gauge everything based off that. And I know what foods agree with my body and what foods don't agree with my body. And it's easy, you guys, to fall like, in a trap and to feel like you're kind of spiraling out of control because it's easy to wander into habits, right? I really do understand it. I don't know if I said this in the last podcast or not. Maybe I did, but I see how people wander into eating sweets every day. I see how people wander into eating chips every day or smoking cigarettes or drinking booze. It's really easy to wander into habits because it doesn't happen all in the day, right? Like I give the example, I talked about this with a lot of people. Maybe I said on here, like how my dad would come home. My dad drove, he drove truck for, and if I said this in the last podcast, I apologize. My dad drove over the road like a semi truck in the Midwest through the worst conditions ever. Driving through Southside Chicago, like everywhere you can imagine, and carry a gun with him when he was there. Just just a rougher life. And if you see my dad, he looks, he's older now. He's Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino. That's who he is. Except he has Harley Davidson tattoos all the way down his arms, and he's just he's a fucking he's an old white dude from the Midwest. You know what you're getting, man. He's a Sons of Anarchy member, and I always remember him coming home from work, walking in our kitchen. I could hear his work boots just tapping on our kitchen as I'm downstairs, and immediately just go grab a cup, put some ice in it, pour some Bacardi Dark in there, and have a Diet Coke mixed in with it. And that's what he would do, and that was his routine, and he would drink every day. Immediately when he came home from work was the first thing he did. Nothing else is more important. Like, don't pass go, don't collect $200, just drink fucking booze. And you watch this habit, happen, and he did it for a long time. He's older now, takes Athletic Greens. He's eating tuna. He's eating vegetables. He's much healthier now. He takes all the supplements we recommend to him. It's actually kind of cool to watch. He walks on a treadmill. He's trying to be a savage in his late 60s. But I never understood that until I became older, until like this year, until, stresses became real in my life. And I saw that and I'm like, man, I could easily, like smoke weed every day. I could easily drink booze every day. I could easily, get addicted to prescription pills every day. I see how easy it is to wander into it. I see how easy people can fall into the addiction of food and adapt to it and just let it become part of your day. And the reason I share that is just for the fact of I think it's easier when you set guardrails in place and when you have discipline in your life. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but having discipline buys you freedom. It really does, you guys. If I say I'm not going to drink alcohol on these days, and it's a rule that I will not break, it buys me freedom on the other days. Or if I say, hey, I can have drinks today, but I'm choosing not to because it's not who I am and what I do right now, it buys you freedom on the other days. And safeguarding your house, like if you're someone who likes to drink wine every day, don't keep wine in your house. It becomes a lot harder. If you're somebody who could eat pizza every single day, don't keep pizza in your house. These little things you guys all know. But what I'm saying is if you can have some rules. So for me personally, I have to, because again, if you're not the person who, a lot of the things I do and what I'm sharing here is because I was the unhealthiest person of all fucking time at one point in my life. And it cost me a lot and I felt like shit. And it really just, it got me to my breaking point of like, I'm just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. So I have to change what I'm doing. I have to change how I'm drinking. I have to change how I'm eating. I have to change how I'm sleeping and how I'm living my life. And it was not easy and it took a lot of time to do. And over time you became better at it. And now it's like, well, if I'm in the fasting world and I'm not going to eat before 12 o'clock or before 1 o'clock or before 2 o'clock, or I'm not going to eat before I work out ever, I'm not going to fuck up as much. So that's my guardrail. That puts things in place for me to not make mistakes. And that's all I've really done. And so again, I'm not saying you have to do what I do or what I've done, but by doing this, it shows you can go without. It shows you can break bad habits. It shows you that you can be disciplined and you can make changes if you really want to. And I'm saying this because you guys, I used to chew tobacco all fucking day, every day. I would chew a tin a day. At least a tin every single day. And sometimes my bottom lip would be so chewed up and raw, I'd have to put a chew in my upper lip because I was that addicted. And I would do that shit in the shower at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's fucking ridiculous. And eventually I quit. It took me a long time. It took me a lot of failed attempts, but I quit. And I haven't had a chew in probably, I don't know, 13 years or 14 years, something like that. There's a time where I couldn't not have less than 10 beers at once, minimum 10 beers, all gas, no brakes, 0 to 100 all the time. And there was a long time where I couldn't drink alcohol at all because I had really no fucking control over it. And I think there was a time this year where I didn't have a drink from my birthday. I didn't drink from August this year until August of 2023 till March. So probably 7 months or so until I went to a spring training game with my boy Dave and had a couple beers. And it was fucking great. And then now I can control myself. But now I have the discipline and now I can handle it. And I'm not saying go out and drink alcohol. And I'm not saying go out and do these things if you have addiction problems. What I'm saying to you is food is the same way. Food is the same thing, except you have to eat and it's a harder addiction to fight into battle, especially if you're struggling with sweets or salty things or whether it be alcohol. So I think just having a plan is critical for you guys. And so if my plan is, if I know my work schedule and I know what's going on, my plan is I'm going to eat once today. If I'm really struggling, if I'm really hungry, if I really need something, I can eat twice today. And that first meal is going to be pretty much the same thing. It's just light protein, 50, 60 grams of protein, give or take, and probably 10 grams of fat. And I like to opt with blueberries, but you could go blackberries or raspberries or strawberries or an apple or a banana or whatever you need. And that's fine for me. If you really need more fats, you can grab a little single serving of like a nut butter packet and you're good to go. But that's typically what I do. And if I just eat once, it's a bigger protein meal. I have at least 100 plus grams of meat protein. If it's just once, it's probably closer to 130, 40 grams of meat protein. Then I mix that with like the yogurts or if I have a Perfect Bar or something, and I'm real close to 200. Do I care if I eat 178 grams of protein one day and 214 grams the other day? I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not sitting here and counting macros and weighing out food. You can if you need to, but that's not where I'm at on my journey. And I don't care. And there's days where I maybe eat 60 carbohydrates, and there's days where I might eat 200 carbohydrates, depending on what my output is. And Heather can attest to this. I eat pretty much the same thing every single day. Very few people I work with have ever seen me eat because I don't really eat at work. I eat once and I eat at home. And that's how it is. One day a week, I'll eat whatever the fuck I want to eat. And it's usually the same thing. It's I do pizza a lot, or I'll do burgers and fries. That tends to be my go-to for the most part. And I do burgers with the buns and with a bunch of fries, and that's what I do. And I like to have a dessert too. So I might have like a carrot cake or something, or like a red velvet cake. We got this place here locally. It's LGO. It's just down the street from us. They have the best red velvet cake on the planet. And then Heather found this carrot cake at this little place. I think it's called, is it Arcadia Farms Market? LGO has a great carrot cake too. But there's a little Arcadia Farms Market that is like an amazing carrot cake. And that's what I'll do. Or they have cookies there too. There's a lot of things. And so that one meal a week, I eat like an asshole. I really do. I kind of just eat whatever. I try to have a high output day. So I work out real hard, move around a lot, and I eat a shit ton. Not so much where I feel like crap and want to puke and have a hangover the next day, but I eat a lot. And then I wake up the next day. It's historically Saturday for me, and I wake up on Sunday, and I'll do our Sunday events Metcon, which tends to be harder and more output, and then I'll fast most of the day. And then I'll go back to my normal routine. I'll eat once a day. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's not overly complex. If I drink alcohol, you guys, it's beer or whiskey. I'm not, clear alcohol is for rich women on diets. Ron Swanson. I'm kidding, but it is true. But yeah, if I drink, it's beer or whiskey, and depending on the time of year it is, I probably drink more in the summertime than the wintertime. I'm not a big social drinker. I don't go out and party. If I have a beer, it's like in the pool with my dogs playing catch, and it's usually with Heather around, and we're just having a good time, relaxing, and that's it. And if I do drink beer, honestly, it's probably 2 beers would be the max for me at this point. I just it's too filling for my old ass stomach, and that's just what it is. That's why I do think beer is probably a better option, because if it's whiskey, you can get real dangerous real quick. And if I'm talking, in terms of eating and drinking, I probably haven't, felt like shit from drinking since probably 2020. I remember one time we went out, we stayed with some friends in an Airbnb during the pandemic when the world was completely weird, and we stayed up too late, and I was just drinking way too much whiskey, and I woke up the next day and just had like the whiskey shits and just felt like I got kicked in the face by 100 people. So it's been over 4 years, and before that it was probably about another 4 years. I tend not to do that stuff. I just don't feel good. I don't come back like I used to. I'm too old. And so that's it. I just try to do things in moderation. I really do. And now this is coming to you from a guy who's trained his whole life, who really, and I know it might sound weird to some of you, I don't just do this for what I look like. I really don't. It's a part of what I do. It's a part of our business. It's how we've made money and done these things. And it's how a lot of you guys have met me, but it is not the main reason why I eat this way. It just isn't. I just want to feel good, man. I want to be healthy more than anything. I've had my health, taken away from me at different points in my life. And I've, like all of you've battled through injuries, and you've battled through, internal and external health issues. And it sucks, man. And it robs you of your joy, and it makes you sad, and it makes you depressed. And you can't escape it. You're going to get older. Something's going to get all of us. None of us is getting out of here alive. But if I can avoid a lot of that through what I eat and what I drink, that's what I'm doing. And again, I'm going to be 41 here real soon. And crazy to think, man, I'm way closer to 50 than I am to 30. Like, fuck, man. It's weird to say. It's weird to feel too. But the point in that is, I'm not trying to gain 10 pounds of muscle in my 40s. If I show up, you guys, one day and I'm 225 pounds again, just know I'm on a shit ton of steroids, right? Like it's just not going to happen at this point. Like, the heaviest I was like fit was probably 220. I'm like 205 today. So I'm 15 pounds lighter than that, but I'm also in my 40s. I'm not 33, and I'm not eating 5,000 calories a day, and I'm not, training as heavy as I used to because I have the same joints I've always had. I want to be mobile. I want to be fit. I want to be uninjured, is what I'm saying. So that's what I do. If you're somebody who's looking to lose a bunch of weight or you have some major changes to make, you're trying to gain a bunch of muscle, this is probably not the way to eat for you. But for me, I feel good when I'm fasting. I like that kind of empty feeling in my body. I don't like to feel, you know, acid reflux. I don't like to feel bloated and gross and disgusting. I just like to feel, you know, strong and functional and fit. And I like to eat foods that I like, and I like to eat a lot of food when I do eat. I don't like to do this little, baby pigeon meal shit that just doesn't work for me. And that's it. That's pretty much my diet in a nutshell. Protein is the number one. I eat a bunch of fruits, obviously on top of that, and I'm not against grains, so I like potatoes. I like the Ezekiel products for sure. That's it. There's a lot of other things I'll eat that are fancier, but I'm giving you guys the most basic version of what I do because most days it's just, hey man, let's make the meat. Let's do our veggies or our starches, and then let's eat the fruits that we like to eat and go from there. And if I worked out way more, I'd probably have to eat way more. But I do mobility every single day, and I work out hard. You know, I probably work out hard. I do 4 harder loading days per week. I do the Sunday events Metcon, and then the other days I mix in, heavy mobility work, rucking, or just different skill work. But 5 of my workouts a week are probably hard. The other 2 are just movement and going through the motions. And again, I want my fitness at this point in my life to give to me and not take from me. I don't want my fitness to steal my fitness. I don't want to wake up and be so sore and so hurt that I can't move and I can't do things. There's no badge of honor for walking around, like you got the shit kicked out of yourself. I want to still be mobile and strong and athletic and fit. And the food that I eat just has to allow me to do that. That's really it. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. But just know there's no wrong way to eat. And what I show, by the way, on Instagram oftentimes isn't the entire meal. I know it looks better if you just do a one shot. But if you guys want, I'll do some scroll through screens where you can see all the things that I eat and how I mix up like the yogurts or when I do some of the fancier Ezekiel stuff. 'Cause sometimes I do Ezekiel with peanut butter and some bananas, and I'll drizzle a little bit of honey on there. And I'll do that like with my eggs and my chicken sausage and those types of things. But I'm happy to share. So just so you know, that's it. 1 meal a day most days. Sometimes it's 2 meals. It's not rocket science. I just make sure every time I'm eating, I get enough protein in there because it's the building block of everything. I'm a huge fan of fruits, and if I'm doing healthy fats and things like that, it'd be just adding little avocados and coconut oils and things like that in there. But I do eat a lot of fats from just the animal products we do and from the butters and the things that we do add into there. So hopefully I covered all the bases. I didn't write anything down for this podcast. So it's just me just all talking off the cuff. So I know a lot of you guys are wondering about it. And again, do not eat like me. Do not do exactly what I do. You can try it. If it works for you, great. But what I would urge you to do is if you want to take pieces of what I do and integrate it into your own life, I think that's obviously ideal. And just my 2 cents, I think eating lighter during the day for me, I just feel better. I don't know the people who can go out to have a business lunch at, on a Wednesday at 1:00 and eat this big ass, have a big ass French dip sandwich and drink a glass of wine or a beer and then go back to work and be productive or by any means go fucking work out later. Like I can't do that. Like if I'm in the pool and I'm having a beer, the day is done. Nothing good is happening. I'm not getting on an email. I'm not getting on a phone call. I'm not going to work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I always say, like, in college, when you do, like, you'd wake up and, like, you're day drinking. You're, like, pre-gaming before a football game. And you're drinking booze at 10 a.m. before you go to a noon football game. It's like everything's downhill from there. If you're drinking beers at noon before a football game or you're at the pool drinking beers, the odds of you going and having a dinner of just, like, salmon and asparagus are pretty fucking rare. You're going for the pizza, man, because the ship has already sailed. So I'm a fan of just, keeping things lighter, and then I eat heavier later in the day. That tends to work for me. And, if you got to do a digestion walk or what my wife sent me this video of this old lady doing, she calls it her fart walks. She eats her dinner. She's like 70 years old on Instagram. I have no clue what her name is. but she'll just like, she's doing like a selfie video like I do when I ruck, just talking like, oh, me and my husband are out on our fart walk, just fucking crop dusting the neighborhood, farting all over the place. I mean, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. But eat things that agree with your body, eat things that make you feel good, eat things that align with your goals. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can always reach out to us. We do obviously have nutrition coaching. We answer a bunch of questions inside the app too. But at the end of the day, you guys, protein, produce, and water, eat foods that you like, eat foods that you enjoy, season them, cook them, grill them, fry them, make them in a way that you look forward to enjoying your meals. You're going to have way more long-term sustained success if you do it that way versus just force feeding and choking yourself into eating certain kinds of foods every single day. I like elk, I like venison, I like bison, I like steaks, I like, ground turkey and chicken if you do season it right. I like certain kinds of vegetables in the right context. I love fruits. I love putting cinnamon on damn near everything that's in a sweet context. And so it's easy for me. It's not as hard. If I dreaded every single day and I was only eating just plain fish and broccoli, I'd probably fucking hate it. But I found things that I like, and I tend to kind of stick to those. So I would urge you guys to do the same. And if you need ideas, I'm happy to keep throwing them on Instagram and post them out there, and hopefully it helps you stay healthy. So to answer the question, mostly still eating one meal a day. Sometimes it's twice a day. One meal a day, I just say fuck it. And if Heather and I go out to dinner or we travel somewhere and we're going to a place that's known for pizza or ribs or burgers or whatever, we get that. I don't go out to eat and eat salads and do bullshit. If I'm going to go out, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy your life. There's a balance there, and I'm not telling you guys where to draw it, but, I'm a middle-aged man from the Midwest. I grew up on steak and potatoes and beer and whiskey, and that'll always probably be a part of my life in some little context. And I think there's a balance there, and there's an enjoyment there that you have to have for yourself. You got to be a real person too. And as long as you feel good, and as long as it aligns with your goals, and it's adding to your life and it's not taking away from your life, I think you can find a way to responsibly build any of these things into your world. I'm probably going to eat cinnamon rolls and eat potato chips, until I'm dead. I'm just not going to eat them every single day, but I'm going to work out enough so they can always be a part of my life, so I can have some mouth pleasure, so I can have some, culinary enjoyment in my life, even though I've dedicated my life to being a fitness person. And knowing my health is the most important thing, that I have. And I want to feel good. And if I do it right, hopefully the byproduct is I look, good enough to where my wife still wants to have sex with me and people still want to believe what I say in a fitness context. So there's always that there too. There's vanity parts that drive all of us for sure. And I'm not saying, I don't do some of it for the way I look, because obviously I do care what I look like in some context for sure. And I want to lead by example. And if that can help people lead a healthier life, I'll keep doing it to the best I can, even as I get older. And if you're watching on YouTube, as my fucking beard just gets whiter and whiter here as I start to look like Santa Claus slowly but surely. So hopefully you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. My goal is to get BJ Gaddour on the podcast here, for him and I just chopping up, talking shit, maybe this Sunday or next Sunday, more than likely. Bring him back on and talk about his Ultimate Core Training program that we've been doing, and a bunch of other things as well. So if you guys want to jump in the app, Summer Advanced Metcon starting Monday. Love to see a lot of you guys in there. Love to give away a free trip to one of you lucky folks, fly you out here and hang out with you. What else? Yeah, Core Trainer is in the app right now. Rebuilt programs in the app as well. And want a free sample of AG1, hit me up. Anything else, link will be in the show notes. I appreciate you guys as always. I thank you for the support. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you as well. Like, subscribe, share on YouTube. We have over 2,000 videos. It's all free for you guys. And if you're in Scottsdale, come on in. Love to have you part of the community. If you guys are visiting from out of town, shoot us a DM. I'll be happy to get you in if I can at all possible. So with that, I will talk to you guys soon. And until next time, eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.